Here's one episode of SpongeBob that never gets the love it deserves. See if you can guess the episode I'm talking about based on these hints. Hint number 1. This episode had SpongeBob get thrown in jail. He didn't really deserve it, but the police made him spend a full night in there. Hint number 2. This is a Patchy special, so the runtime is double the normal length. Hint number 3. Other than Karen, all the main cast appear in SpongeBob's house in this episode. Hint number 4. SpongeBob makes a piñata in this episode and fills it with something weird. Hint number 5. This episode came out in season 3 before the first major movie. And finally, hint number 6. SpongeBob wears a bunny outfit and tries to break into his own home at one point in this episode. This episode is Party Pooper Pants, one of the most written off, underappreciated episodes of the entire classic era. Anytime I see someone make a tier list with all the classic episodes, they always put Party Pooper Pants in something ridiculously low like D tier. And believe me, I get it. The episode makes SpongeBob kinda hard to like. He wants to make the perfect house party for all his friends, but stresses out the whole time and micromanages things like a drill sergeant. It makes the episode a little tough to watch from time to time, and as a result, it's one many people don't enjoy. But I think it's actually a wildly underrated gem that has a lot to offer, with 3 main things making it a great episode. For starters, the characters in this episode are great. We get a nice little taste of almost all the main cast since they're having fun at a party, with 3 characters in particular standing out. First, there's Patrick. For an episode that's so often labeled as slow or unfunny, Patrick absolutely steals the show and is probably the best character in the whole episode.
Was he talking to me or you?
And I love to see that. This is the version of him everybody likes since he's fun, supportive, and while a bit slow admittedly, he feels a lot smarter than his future lobotomy victim counterpart. He drops like half a dozen quotable lines in this episode, and it really does a great job at balancing SpongeBob's stress through his light humor. If this version of Patrick was how he was every time we saw him, he would absolutely be the most beloved character in the whole show, since he's a delight on screen anytime he shows up and really adds a wholesome vibe to the episode as well. Compare this to how Patrick behaved in Rule of Dumb, for example, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This truly is Patrick at his peak, and it definitely gives points to the overall quality of the episode. And then we got Patchy the Pirate. Even though he was playing the part of a controlling party host, it was hilarious. The band of birds got on his nerves to the point where he straight up made them walk the plank, all while completely forgetting they can fly. And then when he decided to provide the music himself, he unironically gave us an absolute banger that perfectly pairs with many occasions. Mate, I just love this song. Here are things that are better in life when this song is actively playing. Exercise. Mating. Attending a funeral. Needless to say, Tom Kenny does a great job playing Patchy the Pirate, and his manic demeanor shines through brightly here. And as the cherry on top, this episode's funniest line to me has got to be when Potty handed him a stick of dynamite after the song.
Thank you, Patty. I almost forgot. Hey, wait a minute. I don't play a flute. I play a fife.
Even though the Patchy sections are largely responsible for the pacing dipping here and there, moments like this are just deep fried and smothered in chocolate. If the US government hacked every sound device to blast this for 5 minutes once a week, I guarantee our nation's mental health and energy would skyrocket. But what about SpongeBob? We get Patrick and Patchy at their peak, but SpongeBob wasn't his usual lighthearted self. Many people think he felt stressful, less funny, and quite controlling. And honestly, I agree. Portraying SpongeBob like this definitely brings its own pros and cons, and is quite unique to this episode. Effectively, Party Pooper Pants, or PPP for short, softly positions SpongeBob as a sort of antagonist, and it makes sense that this would therefore be one of the main hangups a lot of people have with this episode. The thing is though, this episode already has lots of great humor, so it doesn't need more humor from SpongeBob himself. And as crazy as it sounds to suggest, it's actually SpongeBob that pushes this episode from average to something special.
What?
To explain what I mean, we need to zoom out and look at what makes the show special to begin with. In my opinion, the show succeeded in many different areas all at the same time, rather than just comedy. The show has an original world, broad appeal, good music, and as we see in this episode, nuanced characters that do more than simply making us laugh all the time. Take Geeks, for example. Why do people love that episode so much? I mean, sure, the jokes were great as usual, and of course the underwater environment is charming too. But those things are both almost always true of classic SpongeBob. What stands out in Geeks is Squidward finally getting a victory and feeling genuinely happy. Plus a great song. The episode made us root for Squidward and want to see him rise up. It was a classic underdog story that stuck the landing. PPP is the other side of the same coin, but instead of seeing Squidward get his victory, we see SpongeBob get his. Something that felt special since we see him struggle the entire episode, creating an obvious subversion of SpongeBob's typical role in an episode. Interestingly though, it actually feels like a natural extension of SpongeBob's character rather than something out of left field. On paper, something like happy character becomes a stressed out and controlling mess might sound like a forced shakeup, but really it just fleshed out the traits he already had. He's always been the type to follow rules to a T and take his responsibilities super seriously. So it made sense that he would struggle to know how closely he should follow the guidelines laid out in the Plan Your Own Party kit. Plus, I think he genuinely struggles to get social cues a lot of times, so the struggle he has here is amplified by that. This is the genius of the episode, because it made him relatable in a nearly universal way. The tension of his desire to create the perfect party makes me just want to really see him win, making it feel like an underdog story just like Geeks did with Squidward. In the end of PPPP, SpongeBob is depressed. Having been arrested, he slowly walks home knowing deep in his heart that everyone hated the party and will never want to come back to another. Very much mirroring the sense of defeat Squidward felt before playing at the Bubble Bowl. But then, ladies and gentlemen, right as he goes home and laments how much of a disaster it was, Patrick comes up and absolutely saves the day as his friend. In that moment, SpongeBob realizes he's just been in his own head the entire time, and that everyone actually very much enjoyed coming over to the house for the party. It wasn't as epic on a musical or visual level as Squidward's victory, but it resonated emotionally in a way that we don't often get to see. SpongeBob struggling and having some blaring character flaws enhanced this episode because of the underlying message it effectively sent, that he was doing a good job and needed to be easier on himself. Something awesome is that we actually get to see some continuity from this a few episodes later, since SpongeBob ends up having the same group of friends over for a party again, and they all look excited. While Squidward was somewhat dreading going to the party in PPPPP, he came to the next one eager and smiling, really showcasing just how much of a good time SpongeBob was able to create for him and the gang earlier. Compare this to other classic episodes people often toss in D tier. I'm with Stupid, Dumped, The Sponge Who Could Fly, and you'll find that the depth and satisfying conclusion of PPP is something special that's worthy of recognition. Plus, PPP is simply superior across the board, even in the more typical departments. Humor-wise, while the other episodes have their moments, PPP is consistently funny, getting in a joke that lands well with nearly all the side characters. Compare that to The Sponge Who Could Fly, for example, or Tussawakafa for short. Both episodes open with SpongeBob having a dream that he spends most of the episode struggling to achieve, but they resolve in a completely different manner. In Tussawakafa, the episode ended with the Bikini Bottomites just remaining as jerks. Not at all sorry that they destroyed SpongeBob's inflatable pants to begin with. But the episode couldn't just finish like that. It needed a resolution. So the jellyfish ended up helping SpongeBob fly in the final minute out of nowhere, trivializing the entirety of the episode for centering around SpongeBob inventing his own method of flying. It felt not only forced, but hollow too. Honestly, with Tussawakafa, I'm left wondering, was this meant as a satire of bad endings, or is it genuinely a bad ending itself? Either way, it feels off. Saying, if you want to fly, all you need is friendship, feels out of nowhere since his friends had been unkind throughout the episode. Whether or not this was meant to be taken as satire of slapped-on happy endings is up for debate, and for that reason, it comes across more as a genuinely bad ending rather than a satire of the trope. Tussawakafa earned its commonly given D-tier rank due to its ending, low humor, and pacing issues. PPP, by contrast, has an ending that naturally follows the bulk of the episode, wrapping everything up in a satisfying way. Does Patrick saying that everyone actually had a great time logically make sense? Absolutely. SpongeBob threw a party with snacks, balloons, and a cool song called the Humpback Hop. I'm not much of a party guy, but I would love this party. I mean, anything with food, right? And then the end reveal that SpongeBob was in his own head about the party being a disaster completely lined up with the spirit of the episode, since we had been able to see that people were having fun even though SpongeBob couldn't. The twist of seeing SpongeBob, a usual bottle of joy, struggle with being happy for once really made the ending land. Throughout the episode, he's the one overthinking. He's the one who just can't have fun. So when Patrick came in clutch to help his friend, the beat completely landed. ended, something other D-tier classic episodes come nowhere near. Overall, this episode is a high B-tier episode to me personally, and to address what it should have done differently to become an A-tier or S-tier episode in my book, I would say that despite slow burn storytelling actually being a pretty good thing, the weak parts of it where it cuts to Patchy and the ending song weren't contributing to the story and instead came across as fluff. Trimming the fat would have elevated this episode to A-tier. As it currently stands though, PPP is a great time and belongs in high B-tier since it was humorous, original, and impactful. Showing SpongeBob's struggle with something we've all felt, a desperate desire to do really well, makes this episode feel meaningful. I think SpongeBob's social mistakes and panic reflect the common feeling that we need to perform to earn relationships rather than just letting them naturally blossom. SpongeBob never needed to try so hard, something obvious to anyone watching from the outside. In the end, he realized that he actually did a great job because his plan got thrown out the window, something that led to his group of friends, Squidward included, coming back for another party soon after. I'm not really one to always want a message in an episode of a cartoon, but here I think it really works, because it's essentially saying we don't need to try so hard to earn friends, and we often assume people dislike us more than they actually do. All this to say, mate, I bet people probably like you more than you realize, even if they don't always say it. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day.